you're the only person who can help me. If you're not having that happen enough, there is really one thing that is at the root of the issue, contrary to what everyone is telling you. One big issue that starts the ball rolling. And if you're not getting that ball rolling, you're not going to have the kinds of conversations with the kinds of folks that you want to. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that and share some information about what's going on and how you can turn things around. My name is Winnie Anderson. I am a content strategist, and I focus on a specialty that I refer to as buyer enablement. I create messages, content, tools, and resources that help buyers of services decide to buy faster and easier, not selling. So what I want to share with you today is really the big block that I struggled with. Others I know struggle with, clients and students that I've had struggle with, and others that I'm seeing and that I'm in consultation with right now that are dealing with this very issue. And the problem is really it's leading you to not being able to achieve your goals. So you're not earning what you want to earn. You're not making the impact that you want to make. And you have probably tried a bunch of stuff that you believed would make a difference. You might have started a podcast. Maybe you wrote a book. You might be writing blog posts. You're sharing stuff on social media. And you feel super busy. But it's not producing the kinds of results that you want and that you need to get your business to the next level of success, to make that next big leap that you want to make. And frankly, it's frustrating. You invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, and you might have even invested a lot of money with these particular strategies, but they're not working for you. And I can tell you that the real issue, I'm going to try showing you a slide. The real issue that is starting this problem that you're having with basically that you don't have the sales that you want comes down to the fact that you're engaging in what are passive marketing tactics, and you are not leveraging them as effectively as you could be. So let me just share with you quickly a little bit about exactly how and why these things work. Sorry. So what you want to think about is how buyers buy, and you want to match your process to how they're buying. So you've got to connect with them, but nothing is going to happen, frankly, if you don't get seen and if you're not discoverable. So where is my sharing my screen? Window. Go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this or not. I guess not. It's not working. I will share the images underneath here so you can see what I'm talking about. What happens is for anybody to buy anything, they have got to discover you first. There is a process that each of us goes through when we buy anything. We first have to recognize that we even have a problem to solve, and then we have to decide that we're serious about solving it. And once you've come to that realization that you have this problem that you want to solve it, you then have to find the answer, right? So first is you only need to talk to people who are aware they have a problem, because they're the people who are going to be open to a solution and may actually be actively searching. So once a person has come to that conclusion, they then are on a mission to find the answer to their problem, or their mind and their heart are at least open to hearing a solution. Where do they go? You've got to make sure that you are making efforts to be visible. And this happens with active marketing tactics. Active marketing tactics are the kinds of things that you lead the way on, that you are actually truly taking action and you produce the result. Passive marketing tactics feel really powerful. They feel like this is going to go out and it's going to do the work for me. It can, but the problem now is you've got to get that particular thing out. You've got to build awareness that you have the thing. If you create a podcast, and I have had 2 podcasts, you've got to then market the podcast. So it's great if you want to use that as a marketing attraction and part of your overall sales process. But is it designed to fit into that process? And how are people going to discover it? So here's another problem with passive marketing strategies. What happens is you are relying on others' serendipity to find the thing, the tool that you're hoping will do the selling for you. This means that you have to rely on basically the algorithms that are out there and hoping that people will find you, hoping that you have practiced good SEO, that you understand the terminology that they're using to search with, that you understand the intent they have with the terminology that they use, that you're on the right platform, and that they're able to then discover you. So, algorithms change very, very often, and we're at their disposal. That's part of the problem with a passive marketing tactic. It's not that they're not awesome, because in theory, they're out there doing the hard work for you 24 hours a day. Your website is a passive marketing tactic, a passive marketing tool, and it can be a great one, assuming that you have content that's keyword rich and that your site is set up to be search engine friendly, and that the spiders are finding you, and that you haven't violated some mystery rule of Google, and that you are rising in the search engines, and that AI is not, coming up with information basically from your website and people aren't clicking through. So there's an awful lot of reliance and stars that have to align for passive tactics to work. Another problem with passive tactics is they tend to snowball. So at first, maybe you're using video, right? Or you're writing blog posts or social media posts or whatever it is that you're doing. And it's like you're the voice crying in the wilderness because people are not seeing, hearing, or responding to you. Well, that's because you're at the mercy of this algorithm. So if you do this, with this particular thing, this passive tactic, and you don't get the response that you want, you might then tell yourself that it doesn't work for me. That books don't work to sell. Video doesn't work for me. Social posting doesn't work for me. So you can then end up, instead of refining your strategy and content and messaging, you can then go off and try some other thing that may not work the way you want it to, if you even knew what it was that you wanted it to do in the first place. And now you get frustrated. Pretty soon, it's like you're throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. I had a friend who was an accountability partner, and she actually decided to give up. She never really got her business off the ground and decided it wasn't worth it to her. She wasn't going to do it anymore because, and this is what she told me, she couldn't be certain that if she shared a post, let's say on LinkedIn, that it would get results for her. That she was paying all this money in website hosting annually, and it wasn't working for her. She created blog posts that didn't get any response. She started a podcast, didn't get sales that she could directly trace back to that. So the problem with this is that she had really tried these strategies, but she did not actively market those things. So she would write a post and then share it one time and then never share it again. Well, that's not the way that really works. But we all do it, right? We've all done it. I know I've done it. So the point is that and which is why you need to create evergreen content, frankly. You share something, people don't respond. It doesn't mean that your message was bad or the headline wasn't bad, and not that those things couldn't be improved. But the point is also, maybe the algorithm was working against you that day. Maybe nobody was paying any attention where you shared it. So the point is, too many of us, especially introverts, rely on passive strategies. Why? They feel really good. You really feel like you're busy. But those things are unlikely to really land in the way you want, because exactly as I said, you're fighting the algorithm and things like that. So really what you need to do is engage in active marketing tactics. Active marketing tactics are things you control to a large degree. They involve real humans, which I know is scary, and they get you in front of either people who are potentially likely to become at least leads for you. There's the potential here that you could get a sale out of this at some point. There are people who can maybe put you in front of people who could become potential prospects for you. So there are active strategies that you can employ, and then they can turn into a passive tactic that is out there doing its work for you 24/7, while you're out here engaging in more active tactics and actively working to get discovered, because that's what this comes down to. We have to increase our discoverability. The first thing that a potential buyer will do is look for a solution to the problem. Do they discover you? If they go to social media and they say, hey, I'm looking for X, what have you got? Who's out there does that? Are you the name that comes top of mind? Are you the person that they find? Once they've discovered you and consumed your content, they are in the consider phase. They're looking at their options and they're trying to understand the problem, solutions, who solves it, how do I solve it, what's best for me. Once they've got that, then they're going to decide. They're going to make a choice. They're either going to work with you or somebody else, or maybe they won't even solve the problem. So doing nothing is one of your competitors, if you will. Once they decide, they're going to make the purchase. Then their goal changes, and now they're looking to succeed with that purchase. And then, of course, you want them to go off and rave and rant about you and ideally repeat the exchange with you and work with you all over again. You want to be able to use them as a case study because you want them to be wildly successful. So if you are not at first discoverable, you're not going to get to the purchase point. So you've got to not just create the content, the messaging, the thing. You've got to market the thing actively. That's what's going to help you make your next big leap and help you do it faster and help you do it easier. So active marketing tactics are things like speaking. I'm speaking right now. Now, for those of you who are going, oh, God, I hate speaking. There's no way I'm speaking. There are other things you can do, first of all. But secondly, you don't hate speaking. You don't hate speaking because you talk all the time. You know you talk all the time. So it's not speaking that you hate. It's how you define speaking. And it's really what you hate is the potential for rejection. That's what you hate. So what are some other active tactics? You can be a guest on a podcast, right? That's a person who has an audience and they're inviting you in and allowing you to communicate and ideally reach and resonate with this audience. So that's an active strategy. Another one is you could do a video. You can educate people, do a webinar. You can network with people. And you can find people who complement you but don't compete. People who have access to these larger groups where you can get in front of them. So believe me, I know it is very tempting and it's a great thing to do to create a podcast, write a book, blog, post articles on LinkedIn, Medium, Substack, any of those tools, create a newsletter, all of those things. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're passive. They're slow. They're slow to give you a return on investment. And you are counting on things that you can't control to produce a result for you. And too often, like I said, if we don't get a result, we go off to the next tactic without trying to refine that approach and really commit to it. So what do? You look at active marketing tactics and you understand the blocks that you have that are keeping you from taking action. You also understand how potential buyers think and act when they are ready to make a decision and identifying who is ready. So if you're ready to learn more about how to fix this and how to start leveraging active strategies over passive strategies, and especially if you've created a thing that you would like to actually do its job and start leveraging it to get leads, prospects, and clients, then I am going to be a guest speaker on a webinar. It is next week, September 9th. I'll include a link below. And that is being hosted by the fabulous Linda Sunshine West of Action Takers Publishing. And whether you've written a book or not, this is going to help you. If you are thinking about writing a book, I really recommend that you attend, because if you want that book to position you and help you sell your services, the information I'm going to share is going to help you do that. It's going to help turn something that is really a passive tool into more of an active strategy so you can leverage it. I'm going to be sharing concrete tips and strategies that my friends who are successful published authors and successful service providers have shared with me, tips that I have learned that work as well. So you're going to be getting concrete tips and strategies. You're going to get information that's going to help you understand why you're choosing passive tactics and not active ones, and then help you to start leveraging active tactics with passive tactics so you can use your book, use anything to actively sell. Because ideally, neither one is bad or great. It's what are your objectives and how can you merge these two things together to achieve your goals. All right, so hope to see you on Monday the 9th. It's at noon Eastern. Yes, there's a recording if you register. I will not be able to control that because it's not my event. So you want to make sure, I'm going to share the link below. You want to go through, click on that, sign up, If you can't make it, that's okay. But you know, things are always better when you're live, right? Because you get to ask questions, you get to be part of the energy of the group, and we'll be answering those questions as best we can live on the session. So I will see you. I'll include some a resource below and the link as well, and hope to see you next week. Bye for now.